I'm Brian Birch. I'm an insurance finance consultant. Can metaphors help you in technical projects? Now, by technical, I mean an aspect of the project requires somebody to figure out some technical questions, be they accounting, actuarial, legal, or something else. Let's look at conflict in technical projects, and I'll show you how metaphor could help deal with conflict. As an example, insurance companies face IFRS 17 accounting projects. They will involve data processes, software, and people from several disciplines. If they get it wrong, the CFO will have some difficult messages in the years ahead. There are enough technical questions to keep people busy for months or years, and the project needs to have scope, budget, and other normal project parts. There are different groups of people who may need to do their day job and may have things that they like to do or like not to do. They perhaps need to be hired or contracted. There's various people issues. Perhaps in some happy company, everyone agrees on the project deadlines, the scope, and is happy to have an excellent solution, spend the money, and it all works well. But what if the technical people don't have a year to spare to design a new accounting process and buy software? What if the budget doesn't stretch as far as you'd like? Now, World War II's General Patton is quoted as saying, "L'audace, l'audace, toujours l'audace, audacity, always." I can only guess that might translate into pushing ahead regardless. And I suspect that in this case he'd anger the budget holder, the auditor, and the CFO to be able to, when they're about to present to shareholders. You may ignore conflicts and choose pace over people, or you may want technically correct answers, whatever the cost. Is there a way to simplify some of the very complicated decisions while retaining a lot of the subtle information? I have a question, and I'll assume that you are part of a technical project, but not that you have any particular role. The question is, your role in the technical project is like what? And I'm looking for a metaphor there. It's like what? You may answer that conceptually, potentially. You're completing your task list or your RAID log. But in conversations, people often use metaphors. Completing the journey, getting through the maze, transforming finance, meeting requirements and performing, growing your advisory business, building your team, or moving the dial on the people you recruit. There are different types of metaphors that relate to control, transformation, and capacity. For now, I'll assume that we have a journey metaphor, and that it shows the difference between the current space, the current state, and a desired outcome, what you want. It probably has some decisions or actions or some sort of conditions that help or hinder the desired outcome. You can think of most situations in terms of observing, deciding, acting on a landscape, metaphorical or real. You can turn this playful exercise into incisive questions pretty quickly. If you assessed your IFRS 17 situation, your project, as a quick run down the road with PAA, that particular approach, but if it actually turns out to have many more bumps and barriers and turns out with the general model, a more complicated model, or huge problems with a more complicated still VFA model, or a retrospective approach, then potentially you need to scale your team, your budget, and deadlines accordingly. There may also be a lesson in how quickly you get feedback on whether your pace is fast enough, or whether you know all the technical questions, never mind the answers, and if your plan meets all the needs of all of the stakeholders. IFRS is pretty complex. We have jargon, lots of data, complex processes in actuarial and accounting areas, many people with many needs, and project deliverables. We use metaphors anyway. It's possible to use metaphors to keep track of many technical things, many people, and desired outcome. If those are the technical challenges, will the stakeholders' needs be met? We're balancing, we're comparing these as we make a decision. If those are the needs of the finance team and those are the process challenges, are we moving fast enough is a potential question. If this is your situation, do you have enough people? Do you have enough budget? Do you have enough time? Do these areas conflict with each other? What happens then? Does anything need to be different? I hope that's been useful. If you have comments on IFRS 17, on metaphors, or on technical projects, then please let me know below. I'm Brian Birch, an insurance finance consultant, and if you'd like to discuss these issues, please link with me and contact me on LinkedIn.